Okay guys, let's talk about artificial intelligence. And yes, I know it's a bit of a touchy subject. Many people in the music industry are a bit worried, and can you blame them? But AI can also be a beautiful thing. And in that spirit I thought, you know what, let's take a look at some of the good things that have come from AI. So I've assembled a list of 10 of the best AI-driven music production tools on the market right now. Let's take a look. So let's start with the first one, which by the way is usually where one starts. So the first one on the list is actually two plugins. So it is Neutron 4 and Ozone 11 by Izotope. So these are two amazing plugins, or you could call them plugin bundles. So Neutron for mixing, Ozone for mastering, obviously. So they will give you a lot of stuff. A lot of tools for mixing and mastering. And even if you don't touch the AI at all, there's still great extensive packages of tools, but the AI is always there to assist you if you wanted to. So Neutron and Ozone. Now next on the list is the Smart Bundle by Sonible. So the Smart Bundle contains 5 different plugins, 5 smart plugins, and that is Smart Limit, Smart EQ3, Smart Reverb, Smart Comp 2, and Smart Gate. And of course, Sonible has built up a reputation of creating these artificial intelligence driven plugins, so I could have mentioned a lot more, but let's stick with these for now. So of course, these plugins come with some very advanced artificial intelligence, but you still get a lot of control, so you still have a lot of options to get more hands-on. And I have to say that, and this might be just a crazy idea in my head, but it seems to me that in comparison to, for example, Izotope, so the Izotope stuff seems more aimed at using manually, but the AI is always there if you need it, whereas Sonible stuff seems to be more aimed at actually using the AI. But if you absolutely want to be more hands-on, if you want to get manual, of course you still have the option. So that's a little bit of a difference in philosophy, or at least that's how it seems to me. But again, it might be just a stupid idea in my head. But anyway, they both make excellent stuff. Now moving on to the next one, this is actually a plugin that's been around for a while, but it's definitely still worth mentioning. It is Emergent Drums 2 by Audialab. So Emergent Drums is an AI-powered drum machine. So it doesn't come with any samples. So all sounds it generates are created by AI. And of course that comes with some benefits. So first of all, of course, you don't need any samples, so you don't need to look for samples, you don't need to purchase any sample packs, you don't need to store them on your computer, taking up some space, so that's a benefit. Also, all sounds that it creates are absolutely unique, and that, of course, opens the door to infinite possibilities. And also, I have to say that, as I already mentioned, many people in the music industry don't really like AI. They're a bit afraid even of AI, and sometimes rightfully so. But I believe that this is one of those areas where I think that AI can actually be very beneficial to all of us. Well, maybe except for people that actually create drum samples. But other than that, what I mean is this way of utilizing AI doesn't really interfere in any of the creative processes. It doesn't try to create a song, it doesn't try to create any melodies, it doesn't try to mix my music. The only thing it does is create sounds, drum sounds, that I can use however I like. So it's very unintrusive. And again, people who create drum samples may not fully agree with me, but I believe that this is a good example of some great non-intrusive integration of AI in music production. And I think that this is the future. And I'm not saying that this is all there's going to be in the future, but this is definitely going to be explored more and more. Now, having said that, I do believe that, at least in the foreseeable future, of course, there will still be a need for drum samples. And speaking of drum plugins, next we have, again, 2 plugins because I just couldn't choose between them. two plugins that make it easy for you to find drum samples on your computer. So that is first of all Atlas 2 by Algonaut and EXO by Excellent Audio. Now there are some differences between the two. You could say that Atlas is a bit more feature rich. On the other hand, you could also say that EXO might be a bit more user-friendly, but basically they're doing exactly the same thing. So first, of course, you need to tell them where on your computer they need to look. Then they will find all the samples, they will categorize them, they will color code them, they will label them, they will lay them out for you in a very clear manner, all to make it easy for you to quickly find samples, drum samples, and use them in your projects. So very useful stuff. So the next one is again two plugins. Again, I couldn't choose. So these are two vocal generation plugins. One is called Vocaloid 6 by Vocaloid, and the other one is called Synthesizer V by Dreamtonics. So these plugins, they let you pick one of the virtual voices available. Now, based on that voice and the information you give it, it creates a vocal performance. It's pretty realistic already, and they also will give you a lot of options to change the performances. So you can change the text, you can change the pitch, you can change the duration, the vibrato, you can add breaths, pretty cool stuff. So for example, if you don't consider yourself to be a good enough singer, or maybe you just want another voice, maybe for a duet or something like that, very interesting plugins. Now moving on to a plugin from Baby Audio. So this one is called TAIP or TAIP. There still seems to be a little bit of confusion about how to pronounce it. I guess that the idea was to get as close to the word tape as possible without actually spelling the word tape, while also incorporating the letters AI. Bravo, Baby Audio. Now, TAIP is obviously a tape saturation plugin, but what sets this one apart from other tape saturation plugins is that most of them are based on a technology called digital signal processing, or DSP for short. This one is not. This one is AI powered. It is based on some AI algorithms. Now, don't ask me to explain exactly what that means. I just know that this is a truly great sounding tape saturation plugin. It can really make songs come alive, so to speak. And there really isn't that much more I can say about it without getting into too much detail about the interface. Let me just say this. It's a very well laid out interface with a decent amount of controls, and it also comes with quite a few presets. So really a great tape saturation plugin. Now next we find a plugin from Waves. So this one is called Clarity VX DeReverb Pro. So DeReverb, well, this plugin does exactly that. So it can remove or at least reduce the room ambience from basically any file, typically used on voices. Now, of course, there are many tools that can do that, but usually this will result in affecting the quality of the voice. I have to say that this plugin does an amazing job at that. It can really get you some great results, and this is definitely a plugin to check out. Now, the next plugin on the list is called Chameleon by Accentize, and this is almost exactly the opposite of the previous plugin. This is a reverb plugin, but it's not your average run-of-the-mill reverb plugins. This one can analyze audio files in such a way that it can kind of separate the reverb from the original sound, from the source sound. Now, and based on that, it can make a reverb profile, which it can then apply to other sounds. So for example, let's say that you have an audio file with a kick drum sound on it. That kick drum does have reverb on it. You really like that. You also like the reverb on it. But then you also have a snare drum sound, a dry snare drum sound, and you want to apply the same reverb on that snare drum. Well, you can use this tool to kind of extract the reverb profile from the kick drum sound and then apply it to the snare drum, resulting in you having both a kick drum sound and a snare drum sound with basically the same reverb on them. So that is very, very cool. Of course, there are some other things we can do with that, but I think that this is a really clever plugin. Now the next one on the list has proven to be an amazing tool for mixing and mastering. It is Gullfoss by Soundtheory. So Gullfoss is basically an automatic dynamic EQ with a lot of frequency bands, also known nowadays kind of as a spectral shaper. So it will continually automatically adjust the EQ curve according to the audio that is playing. The only thing that you need to do is to set a few parameters, and based on that it can unmask some portions of the mix that it thinks need some unmasking. It can tame some dominant frequencies, it can brighten or darken, etc. And that way it can really clean up your mix and add clarity. And within seconds you can get some unbelievable results with this. Absolutely an amazing tool. Now, and then the last one on the list is actually very similar to Gullfoss. This one is called Intensity by Zynaptiq. This one also comes with some algorithms that are there to increase the level of detail in your mix, and it will give it more clarity. Very easy to operate, only 2 main controls. Now, one thing that it has over Gullfoss is that it comes with more bias curves to choose from. So the bias curves let you choose in a way how the plugin should affect the sound. Also, it comes with an option to add saturation. By the way, I'm not at all saying that it is better than Gullfoss. I'm just pointing out that there are some differences. But anyway, also this one is a great AI tool to have in your toolbox. So that is it. Those are 10 great AI tools you can get right now. By the way, should you be interested in any of them, I will leave links in the description, so go check it out. But guys, what do you think? Which one is your favorite? Or do you maybe have a favorite that I didn't even mention today? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video.